I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity with Young Men. And so I need Mary's advice. Um, it seems like Mary to me, a lot of people, most people, especially young men, the only way to get through to them is just, I don't know, it's like rip their heads off. It's like, so it's almost like like I can feel today there's an edge about me, and I'm like, Mark, maybe have Mary go ahead and take the young. I'm serious. Maybe have Mary take the young men's podcast because it's interesting because Dan Graham, we coached him um and I actually before I started Synergy brought him into the mortgage industry. This guy was just big guy, like very big, very very strong physically. I mean, it's just crazy. And he played professional football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And and so he brought on a lot of young men in sales. And so he was the top salesperson in the company, went on to start his own company, a very successful company. And once there was a group of young men, and I asked them 1 to 10, how direct would you like me to be? And they said naturally a 10 because testosterone goes. Now, nowadays, that was over 30 years ago. Nowadays, the testosterone, literally, I don't know if you knew this, Mary. Did you know that the testosterone in men in the last decade, 2 decades have gone down dramatically?
No, I had no idea.
It's like 30% less. And so in
Oh,
today's society, people say, oh, that's a good thing. And it's like, no, actually, that testosterone, like, yeah, it can do some bad things, but it can do some really good things on production, providing protection. There should be some P's, the 7 P's to success through testosterone or something. Anyways, so he laughed and he said, yeah, you don't want a 10 from Mark. He said, I've seen him bring grown men to cry, break down. I mean, he'll just break you down to nothing. And then he went ahead, it's interesting. He went ahead and, he played, there was flag football with another friend of mine, mutual friend of ours, Dave Libby. And so he put together a flag football league for the church. And he went out there. And after like 5 minutes of playing, Dan went ahead and walked off the field and went to Dave and said, listen, I can't play. I shouldn't be playing. I'm not going to play. And Dave's like, no, you need to. This is really important. And he's like, no, it's not. It's not safe for people. And Dave's like, what do you mean? And he's like, because I play professional football, everybody's kind of gunning for me. And Dave's like, okay. And he said, and he said, the way you're trained, he said, I'm afraid I'm going to literally kill somebody just based on reflex. Like he didn't mean to hurt somebody, it's just reflex. It's just reflex.
wow.
And so, any idea, Merle and Luke, why you guys want to, why people should be coming early?
That's always when the good stuff happens.
Yeah. Did you hear the wow?
Yeah,
Um, you guys know what that's about?
no,
Why not?
because I came on like just a minute ago.
Yeah, you didn't come on as early as Mary did.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious, I'm just curious here. Does does it bother either of you guys, that you guys are getting your butts kicked by, you know, a woman, or are you fine with that? Or
I'm fine with it.
that's what I
I'm,
thought,
I don't really know about anyone else, but I'm fine with it.
right? Not a big deal. I get it. So one of the things I said earlier is I asked Mary if she knew that the testosterone in young men has gone down like 30%, I think it is, in the last 10 years.
Jeepers.
Right?
Dang.
Right? I mean, when I was your age, if my mom had kicked my butt, man, that'd be an issue. If she outperformed me, if, if a woman, you know, would outperform me, especially my mom, like, 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 like that'd be an issue to me. I'm like, really, Mark? Like, really? But it's not to young men, which I guess is fine. It's whatever. I just, they're going to go ahead and they're going to have challenges. Like this is not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. You can see into the future. Like, like, like Patrick and I did a white male over 50 yesterday, and we talked about this very thing. And so you can see the future when young men, their testosterone is low. They don't have the strength. They don't have the drive. They're just like, yeah, it's whatever it is. It is. It's fine. I got beat by a girl. I got beat by a woman. Yeah, it's not a big deal. It is what it is. And it's like, it's a pandemic. It's like and so like it was interesting. I was, it was presented to me, it was presented to me at the Spring Fest that you guys all participated in, and that with a young man, there's a particularly young man, and I was told, well, I think, I think that, you know, the person said to me, I think if you're soft approach, if you're an encourager, I think it's going to work. And I said, I hope you're right. I really do. I love being wrong. I just, especially by young men. I mean, I do. I just I, like, I just do. I mean, there's a young man that's not on today, and last week, he wasn't on either, and it's fine. I get it. I mean, last week it was, because the alarm didn't go off or something like that, and it's okay. It's not a big deal, right? And Merrill, he had that same experience, and so
Once,
what's that?
one time too many.
Yeah, but you, your mom gave me permission, to go ahead and to unleash the Kraken on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you're on, and but she hasn't given me permission to do that with the other young man, and the other young man is not her son, you know, and so it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, I know I could probably even guess the reason that he's not on, which is fine. It's like, you know what? and in his own mind, he's got a good reason. And my guess, I could guess what the reason is. And and in his own mind, and so I don't know what to do I don't know how to process all of that. I'm like, yeah, I anticipated this. I said, yeah, being nice, it's just not going to work. It just won't. It just won't work. Just say we're dead, but it won't. Just watch it. Watch what happens. See, I can see the future. Don't even want to see the future. Like yesterday, I was with Alvin and Mel and Ernie. And a gentleman came by that Alvin hasn't seen in 20 years. He's a farmer in Kansas. Fascinating guy. My gracious. Fascinating guy. And I started reading the book from the founder of JACO last night. And it's like, I have a feeling each one of you are going to go ahead and get a number of copies for yourself and other people. Like, it's just, hope we can get her on a podcast. But I know when you guys read the book, I know you guys aren't going to see what I see. And that's going to be a shame. That's going to be a shame. And so,
How how'd you get a hold of the book?
well, she came by. She gave it to me. So she came by and she was talking. She sat down and I didn't know who she was. She's 90. I think they said she was 90 years old, but she's more like 60. Or, I mean, I don't want to disparage her. She's got more energy, drive, and and spirit, than young men in their, you know, young teens and men in their 20s. She's got more drive, you know, than young men in their 20s.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, she's a spitfire. Wow. So yeah, we were just talking and she's like, "You want a book?" I still didn't know who she was. I'm like, whoa. But boy, does she have a story to tell. Boy, does she have a story to tell. Like, wow, man.
So, what was about the guy from Kansas that you found fascinating?
Well, one is he knew Alvin's name 20 years later. He grew up in Kansas. And then he just came up and he says, "Are you Alvin Miller?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so he's like, and then, Alvin thought he knew who he was. And so he lived here for 15 years in Shipshe. Just funny, just a funny guy. I mean, just hilarious. I mean, you know, I didn't ask for his contact information, but it was fascinating talking about farming equipment and about $1 million tractors and all kinds salt mines, wells, government policy. I mean, it was just a fascinating. I'll never forget it. Never forget it. So, Merle, what you got you'd like to cover today?
How can I better myself for the people around me?
So, there's, so I can, probably start including you. Do you still want to start your own company someday or not so much?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you think that's an illusion, a delusion, or
I think it's a goal.
okay? Do you think you'll achieve the goal?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. So you're pretty confident.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Do I think you're going to achieve it?
I'm not sure. Do you think I'm going to achieve it?
Harry, Kenny, Luke,
No, you don't think he will achieve it.
based on what?
The questions you ask?
Interesting. Okay. Kenny, Mary.
Well, if he's going to achieve it, he's going to have to up his discipline, his um, self-motivation.
So how'd Mary know that?
Well, probably one thing because I'm his mom.
Right. So
Other things, he
she,
owns a company.
okay. So she wants him to succeed because that's what moms and dads want. They want their kids to succeed. They can see greatness in them, but she understands there's a reality. Like he shows up, he disciplines, self-disciplines himself, gets on track, okay, follows through his self-discipline. So he's making some progress for sure. Now he's doing addition. So now he's doing addition. Can he take that and apply it to every area of his life? Like
He can't.
Mary,
It's going to be hard,
what's
and he
that?
needs. He can, but
Yeah,
it's not going to be easy,
right,
and he can't give up the first time that it might not go his way, or the first time that he think it's too hard. Then you can't give up. You have to keep pushing forward.
right. I mean, it's pretty simple. I struggled in school, and probably why I was an entrepreneur because I'm like, I'm not going to be a doctor or a CPA or an engineer. I'm not smart enough. Like, I got to be a business owner. Like, and I won't be successful based on my intelligence. Linda Brakall, my international um, coach for speaking, international speaking coach, she said to me when I was 27, 28 years old, she said, Mark, you're going to be really successful in business. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And she says, but I never want to see the success the way you're going to see success. I said, what does that mean? She said, you're going to see success just based on hard work. So what was she saying to me? You're not that smart, Mark. That's what she was saying. But it's okay because God told me that when I was 8. Like Patrick said when he was, 20, he realized his mom had been lying to him his whole life. His mom kept telling him how smart he was. He went back and got upset at his mom and said, Mom, you've lied to me all these years. I'm not that smart. But you've been telling me I'm smart, but I'm not. Like, not very many people. Patrick went ahead and made a covenant to himself about the same time, I think. And he went ahead and said, he said to himself, he says, I'm never going to lie to myself. Young men are lying to themselves so much, it's insane. It's tragic. It's just, my heart goes out to them. Just absolutely. They just don't understand. So Merle's not going to, he won't be successful. He just won't unless he takes his game higher. If he takes his game higher, he will be. But I don't know how high it's going to have to go. I know, I mean, my son Ben, I mean, do any of you care about him? I don't know. Will any of you say, hey, you got to watch this podcast? Like your dad, like, holy cow. But he says, I don't want to, like, Dad, I don't know. I want to own my own company. Do you, Ben? Do you? Well, I don't want to work as hard as me. Trust me, Ben, you'll never work as hard as your dad. You just won't. You just won't. You can't. You're too far behind. You had fun in high school. Your dad didn't, he worked. And I'm glad I did. Like, I'm glad I did. It was good for me. So, yeah, you're never going to. But you know what? If you build, you know, like, John, John Miller, Mary's wife, and Merle's dad said something very profound. I would apply it differently than what he applied it, but he says, build on the back of giants. And so, when you get to be in your 50s or 61, as I am, it's like, I don't want other people to have to go through and make the sacrifices I've made or work as hard as I've worked. And I can help them. I mean, I can help that. I can if they'll listen to me. But most young men won't. Most young men will not. So, Merle, find two people, and then care for them. Find two people and then care for them. So give the gift to them that was given to you. Care for them more than they care for themselves. Like, push them, get the feeling of the testosterone, the conquest, fighting to win, and then winning, of putting the relationship at risk. Like 1 to 10, how direct, how much do you want me to push you? Like, I'll give you permission to go ahead and push my son, Ben, as hard as you want. Like, he was born and bred to be an entrepreneur. Like, I remember when he and my two other sons, when President Trump first came into the primaries and he was up against 30, nobody thought he'd win, including me. And I said to my three boys, I said, who do you want to win? And they said, Trump. I said, why Trump? They're like, Dad, because, all the immigrants are taking our jobs. I'm like, are you kidding, boys? Are you joking? You're not afraid of immigrants taking your jobs. Like, that's just crazy, buddy. You embrace the immigrants. Like, you have jobs for them. Like you're born and bred to be an owner of a company. Like, come on, boys. And then my oldest son and I co-authored a book, The Art of Seduction of the Masses. We ought to read that. It's a short book, easy read. A very fascinating book. We wrote it in once when I went to Nashville where he was living, and we wrote it in that one time together. Just fascinating. Kenny, what would you like to accomplish today?
Um, I'm not sure what the best thought is or best one is for me today.
Well, fortunately, you have low competition.
Uh-huh.
There's low expectation. So, I'm not concerned. I mean, I'm just excited that you have a thought.
Um,
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about your best thought. Just, do you have a thought? It's like, because a lot of young men, they don't even have thoughts. They don't come prepared. They don't have any, they're not thinking. And so if you have a thought, my gracious, I'd be excited for you, for us.
yeah. Well, my thinking is, there's just I don't so at church we have a small, or it's, I don't know if it's a small group, it's a youth group, and it's just interesting to me to see the dynamics of that and how that works It's like I didn't grow up Baptist. I didn't know. I didn't. It's kind of strange to me. And then yeah, there's definitely some good stuff, but it's just it's just strange to me how they think or how they look at, I guess, their perspective of God and the church and where they're at in that. It's like maybe their confidence in where they're at.
Right. So I grew up Baptist, and I don't understand Baptist. I mean, it's like, how do you have confidence in an infinite God? Like, like I'm confident my position's right. You're confident you understand God? Uh-huh. Really? Like an infinite creator? Like, wow. And they don't even think about it. But I think probably most every denomination, it's almost like they bake in confidence and they like, well, you're really a kind, loving, caring person. You got it together. God's going to bless you. Why? Because you attend and you participate in us. Like, this is one of the things I observed in being a professional international speaker is that it's funny to see international speakers like when they speak and podcasts and it's just funny. It's like, if you attend one of my podcasts, you're a smart person. Why? Because you attend my podcast. Anybody around me is smart. I'm like, really? like it's just weird. It's like, it's just weird. But that's how I think a lot of churches are. A lot of denominations are. It's like they bake in, there's a confidence that's a false confidence, it seems like to me. And so do you disrupt that and ask a question that just reveals, so do you say, it's interesting because I'm kind of new to the Baptist, and I was raised Amish, and the Amish seem to be pretty confident. I guess that's similar to the Baptist. But like like an infinite God, like what if we're wrong? I mean, can, like, a lot of the Amish so you can criticize your own people. Like, I can criticize Baptists. That's why Baptists don't like me. I'm the biggest threat to the Baptists. It's like Clarence Thomas, the black Supreme Court justice. He's the biggest threat to the black community. I'm not. They can just dismiss me. Like, Mary's a far bigger threat to women than I am. Like, they'll just dismiss me. I say something that women don't like, they'll just dismiss me. Mark doesn't understand. He's not a woman. Okay, that's one way to think about it. Mary, though, they can't dismiss her. She's a woman. Young
Mm-hmm.
men, they'll dismiss me. Mark's just an old guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand. Okay, maybe that's so. I don't know. But they can't dismiss you, the four of you. You guys, they can't dismiss you. But do you stand out, and do you stand out in a young men's group, and do you go ahead and create, you know, friction? Do you ask the hard questions, or do you just go with the flow? Are you just part of the flow? You're not going against the current. I don't know. And is it wrong to go against the current? I don't know. See, I don't know these things, but they're good questions,
Right.
and so, I can tell you, you want to, attract a young woman, ask hard questions. 90% of them are going to be pushed away from it. 90% of the women probably are going to be pushed away. Fortunately, you only need one. You only need one. And so it's a way to go ahead. Like, I don't want to get with that disruptor. Like, I don't want to, and you don't want them. It's not going to be a good match because it's how God created you. So we have all these fears that we don't even realize, and we want to fit in. We don't want, we don't want, yeah, it's just strange. It's just very strange. Luke, what you got?
So I've noticed that there's some people with the youth that I kind of hang out with. like there's a couple people that everybody likes. I mean, they
So your
just like them.
question is what? How do you
Like
get liked by people?
what is about those people that everybody likes them, or why does everybody like them more?
Why do you want to know that?
I'm curious
Why? Curious about what?
why everybody likes them. Curious, and then maybe a little bit of envy.
Right. You want to be like them. You want everybody to like you. And it's way overrated, but I can teach you how to get people like you. Um, so you got a little bit of social autism. You like to disrupt things. And so people tend not to like disruptors. So you got to learn how to control your energy. And then you go ahead and you're careful about questions and you're aware of what's going on around you. And then you help the group and you help individuals. So you go ahead and give them, input. You care about people. You say things that people want, to hear. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Praising people. People like other people who are like themselves. And so, they're going to, everybody's going to say, oh, you're really smart too. Oh, you're really smart too. Oh, you're really this. You're kind and caring and everything. So people tend to cluster around other people, that don't challenge them because it's more comfortable. And again, I'm not criticizing. It just is what it is. So with women will tend to like me a lot as long as I tell them what they want to hear. People are like that too. Young men are like that too. I mean, young men are just like that. If I tell young men what they want to hear, they're going to like me. They just will. If I tell them things they don't want to hear, they won't like me. They won't. And they will go ahead and tend to run, which is fine too. Like my life vision is to touch every single person in the world, make a huge difference in every aspect of their life in a fun and exciting way. That's 8+ billion people. It's not to be liked by 8+ billion people. There's a lot of people that don't like me, but I will impact them. I mean, they probably aren't going to forget it. So you just be nice to them, and you go ahead and you see. The thing is there's a lack of confidence that you have in that, and people can feel that. And there's almost like a desperation, like you want to be liked. If you go ahead and it's like you don't want to be liked. Like often, like women, it's hard to get. Like the ones that what do we want more than anything else? We want people, or we want, like, you put a toddler in the room, one other toddler, 1,000 toys, and the toddler wants what they can't have. We as human beings want what we can't have. So you guys are being exposed to ways of thinking, and it doesn't make you better than anybody else, but it makes you different. Very, very different. Like, it's not better. You're not better than anybody else. You're just very different. The way you think, you're being trained to think like entrepreneurs. You just are leaders. You're being trained to be leaders. Mary, what would you like to accomplish today? Sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry. I have some things that I do want to accomplish, but I'd first like to go back to the testosterone. Like why why is it 30% less for men now that it was, what did you say, a decade ago
Yeah,
or
a decade ago, I believe it's 10 years ago, men had 30% more testosterone than they do today. My theory is it's because not all men. I'm saying you take 1,000 men and you test their testosterone 10 years ago, it was 30% higher 10 years ago than it is today. So my theory is because life is a lot easier for young men today. My theory is because they do a lot of gaming, energy drinks, They're not as hard a worker. They're not as driven. And so testosterone produces more testosterone. And so you go ahead, they're not as competitive. I mean, when I ask Merle, hey, do you mind that your mom's kicking your butt? He's like, no. Really? And so there's not the drive. And so they become complacent. It just is what it is. So the internet, they don't have to think as much. We were driving by, Elaine's place and all the kids are out playing. They're not watching TV. They're not on the internet. They're out watching, they're out. So, so I think it's a combination, Mary, of a whole bunch of different factors that go ahead and contribute to it. And I don't think it's good. Men
So,
were, go ahead.
just testosterone, what is that?
So it's
Do
a
women have
chemical
any
in the brain. It's the chemical in the brain that men have more testosterone. Like that would be the sex drive, but it's not just for sex. It's to boys are different than girls. You can see little boys will tend to play war no matter what. Their parents don't believe in guns, they're still shooting each other. They're just boys. They're designed, they're wired, I believe, by God to conquer things, to accomplish things, to conquest, to go ahead and succeed. Like, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to build something. I'm going to make something of my life. I'm going to provide for my wife and my kids. That's testosterone. And if you have less testosterone, you're going to go ahead and be more easygoing. You're going to be like, whatever. If I win, I win. And if I don't win, I don't win. Like, if you're in softball and you're likely, if you don't care if you win or lose, you're probably going to lose. Like, I'm just saying. Like, if you're playing volleyball, you don't care if you win or lose, you're probably going to lose. In life, you don't care if you win or lose. You don't care if your mom's out in front of you. Your mom's going to probably, that's not a good place to be as a man. It's just not. So we got to run here, but this has been an interesting podcast for sure. How do you, I love what Merle said, how does he care for people around him? As a man, you have high testosterone. You go ahead and care about success. You want to go ahead and take ground. You want conquest. You want to succeed. That means a lot to you, and you're willing to make the sacrifices. You're willing to do the work, and you're willing to take the risk. And you'll stand out. And you'll change the world. You will. If you have any questions on anything we covered, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300. Outside the U.S., 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.